Hey everyone, sorry about that. I ran out of space on my phone. I do these on my phone real quick, and I run out of space, especially when I'm talking for like 30 some minutes. All right, getting back to it. Part two of things you might need to get into commissioning a lightsaber build, or just purchasing, or just if you want to know generally, you got questions. Hey, what does a saber entail? Hopefully, I answered a good bit of it so far. We're about to jump in and finish it up, finish the last bit of it. So the video cut off when I was on NeoPixel and the benefits of NeoPixel. So again, your NeoPixel blade scrolls up, scrolls down, has individual little blaster points, and also I think what I was saying is the strip inside the blade is RGB already. It's red, green, and blue. So you have all your colors. Now with a higher end board, like a Prism or a Crystal Focus, you can change your colors at any moment the saber's on, because you have a power with the Crystal Focus or the Prism. They're all Plector boards, by the way, Plector Labs boards. The difference in the higher tier boards is you have an auxiliary button. So you have blaster bolts, lockups, you can change fonts through that, you do all stuff. But you press them both at the same time, you can change the colors. And on those boards, they hold up to like 12 different colors or 16 different color profiles. So you can essentially have all the colors. I'll show you real quick on, this is on the Crystal Focus, on the colors you can have. So for this one, I've got yellow. So I did that, and now I'm going to go ahead and show you, see all these different colors. Just whichever ones I want. And then whenever I get there, I'm like, you know what? Green. Oh, now I select green, and now we're on green. And the board remembers it. So we're back to green. Which is really cool. Any color you want, and you can even mix and match the colors more from there. So again, that is a higher level board, and if you want to get color mixing on the fly, there's one board called the Pico Crumble where you can color change it, and then there's another board coming out which I will probably be offering whenever he has it available. It's a smooth swing board. Smooth swing is the latest technology. It's just the sensitivity on the swings is just phenomenal. So that's really cool, and most of the boards nowadays are moving towards that technology, which they should. It's just fantastic. But there will be a board like the Nano Biscotti that has just a one button. Cut it on, it cuts on, it swings, does all the same functions, but you will be able to change the colors on it too, which is cool. But you'll only be able to do that with a NeoPixel. Remember, people, NeoPixel will get you colors on the fly. If not, for Tricree, now this board right here in this saber is a Prism 5.1 maybe. This has the RGB setup. It's a Tricree. The light is inside the hilt. Once again, those are the two differences that I think a lot of people, I need you to know. The light is in there, okay? Light's already in there. This one is red, green, and blue. And on the Prism boards, the Prism sound boards, which I used to love, I used to get them all the time, you get 6 sound banks, so you can have up to 6 different sound fonts inside the card, in the memory card. And you got your auxiliary button, so you can do lockup and blaster blocks and all that stuff. And force wave, sound effects, just a bunch of bonus features. And you can also change the colors. So with this one, whoop, oh cool, we got like a violet. I made a lot of colors in this one. Lots of swings. So now you can change the colors on the fly. It's a hot pink, blue, orange, yellow, red, another blue, lighter shade of blue, like a, oop, my bad, like a amber green, like a light green, cyan. See, and then you got different sound effects. I have a lot of purple on this one. I dig purple on some of them. But again, I can change it if I want to. Put a lot of shades of purple on this one. It's a cool little... So that's like 3 sound banks that I've done. Oh, this one's cool. This is from Empire Strikes Back. So this is what Luke's saber sounded like in The Empire Strikes Back when he fights Vader. See here, flash on flash. See, that's a force effect on the higher end boards like Prism and Crystal Focus. They have you swing and press the auxiliary button, your like blaster lockup button, swing at the same time, and it'll trigger a song or a quote or whatever you want to put on it, or whatever you can put on it. The font maker provides.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
So you have a saber that has, I guess I could show you that too when I get to the crystal chamber ones. When you have saber that's like canonical from the movie, you have saber fonts. There's saber font makers out there who are amazing. I'm friends with a couple of them. Super cool dudes. Awesome. Great artists. Their sound, they develop the sounds that we can put on these. You can purchase them online and pop out your SD card, pop it in, and there you go. This one's, I think, from The Last Jedi. But this RGB Tri-Cree setup saber, in-hilt LED, is not Neopets. Did you even hear that little boom when I pulled it out? That's because this tube is hollow. There's nothing in it except for a diffusion material to get the light to get even. And these blades are like $30, $40, somewhere around that range. You buy them. I get these from Saberforge. They ship these really quickly. These are polycarbonate tubes. They're made for dueling. You can beat the ever-living bejesus out of these things, and if you break them, man, the force is strong with you. You can cut them to any length, but actually breaking them is hard. This is what polycarbonate is. What like riot shields are made out of, like airplane windows and stuff like that. Like it's extremely resistant stuff, but you can cut it. So that's what you would buy for a Tri-Cree. A Tri-Cree saber, which I think is kind of old technology unless you are dueling. Unless you buy 2 of these, you get the Tri-Cree setup, you get this blade, you can fight till you guys can barely lift your arms up, and they won't break on you. They will hold. They're really freaking durable. But again, it goes back to just on. So with an RGB, We can change colors, just like the other one. Different colors. But again, just on and off. And NeoPixel and Smooth Swing, all that stuff is fairly new. Everyone's jumping on that, which I am. I love it. I think it's great, but it's going to cost you more. You're going to spend more money on a NeoPixel build than you will a Tricrete build, just because of the blade. The battery also. You're going to have to get a certain battery, which is, again, it's not going to cost you that much. It's just $15 for the correct battery. It's like a 15 amp high drain 18650 is what you need for NeoPixel. That'll get you going. That's like $15. Now we're gonna get to the meat and potatoes, the higher end, the good stuff. Or actually, you know what? Oh, jump the gun. Chassis. Well, I guess this is on the same thing as the crystal chambers. Chassis. So this hilt and this hilt was expensive, y'all. I ain't gonna tell you how much that is. This thing was expensive. Luckily, I had a friend let me do payments on it. And he was like, I don't care, man. Just throw me some money. So I threw him money over a couple months. You know, a little bit here and there. I mean, I was on like a real low payment plan. Thank you, buddy. So, like, I just took care of it here and there. But this has, the pommel comes off. See my speaker in there? Pretty cool. And then I just... I have a sled chassis, so my speaker's held in this chassis. This slides out. There's my recharge port, and there's my soundboard in there. I don't know if you can see it that well. There it is. Soundboard's right there. My SD card is right there. This is as far out as this thing ever really needs to come, is about that far, which is just enough for me to plug in a charger. So there's that option. I smell my sabers just like people smell books. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a fine year. So that's one chassis. Do I have one with a removable battery? Now I can build chassis too. With the custom saber shop has different chassis discs. We'll get to that some other time. Removable battery chassis, all that stuff. We can talk about that some other time if you do commission me. But now we are at where your saber commission, install, price, quality, all of it jumps up in price and everything. And whatever I just labeled, I don't even remember my list that I was saying. I was sitting here going like, wow, 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 and I don't even remember what they were. All those things. It's going to jump up. Because now we're going into crystal chambers, crystal reveals, chassis. So this dude is my chassis for my saber, for my kit, for my... In my last video, I ran out of time because I don't shut my trap and I just talk all day long like a fool. It's a kit, right? Remember? I was like, this is a kit you can get. I bought it. A kit just comes with all these little parts that you put together and then you make it and you're like, cool. Now I made it to where this guy, because it's designed that way, it's designed to come out this way. You can do a sled and just keep this fine, but I got this specifically in mind to do a reveal. So like it looks like there's a crystal in there, there's a crystal chamber in there, all that stuff. But it also doubles as my chassis. It's a fixed chassis. It stays in there. It's not. It doesn't move. It holds my recharge port right here, which has a twist kill key. I can pull that out, plug my charger in. That's all I need to do. But I twist it.
Elegant weapon, but a more civilized age.
I had it to where the crystal has a light in it. I put the LEDs in there to light up the crystals. My soundboard sits under here. My battery in this specific chassis, because this chassis goes all the way up to about here, right? Up to about here. It's one piece. I don't have a spare one, but the battery is housed in the rest of the chassis that slides into the hilt, and then I put a retention screw in there, and it keeps it from sliding or doing anything. And you can get them to do different things. But whew, that's crisp. You know what? Since I have this one, I'm going to go ahead and show you. And this is a NeoPixel saber too. I don't have a NeoPixel blade plug made. I can make those for you also. Like, that's another thing that's pretty cool about NeoPixel builds is you can make NeoPixel blade plugs. So like this one, remember how this is the one I was demoing with the blade? I made, oh, I already have it in there. I made a NeoPixel blade plug for it. This little thing right here lights up because, whoop, Butterfingers. This little thing right there is just like what the end of that blade was like. So there's just like 1 or 2 lights in there. And that when that makes connection to the NeoPixel connector pins, then that lights it up for me. So there's that option. This saber, however, I do not have that on there because I'm lazy. So this is a Luke Skywalker, Rey, technically, from the new movies. This is her saber and Luke's saber. So I put a bunch of sound fonts on it that are from those movies. So this is from A New Hope, from the first movie. So you can hear like the Millennium Falcon. This is when he's training.
Stretch out with the office.
Oop.
Stretch out with the office.
Ooh, this thing ain't on there tight enough, huh? She getting crazy. So yeah, this is a Prism board. Prism supports NeoPixel. Nano Biscotti supports NeoPixel. Crystal Focus now supports NeoPixel. Tricrete or NeoPixel. It's just deciding on which one you want to do. So with the Prism board, which are now pretty much obsolete, you can still get them. I don't know how long, but they function very similar to a Crystal Focus. But they have like 6 sound fonts and blasters and all that stuff. So I've got 6 different fonts that are all themed to movies. This is Yoda's home planet, Dagobah. You can hear all the things in the background. Monsters. Switch fonts. Force Awakens. Kylo. And I randomized them. I have a bunch of different quotes on them. But this is what it sounds like in The Force Awakens. So this is a kit that I put together. Just to give you an idea. So like whenever you do sabers from the movies, I say go all out and get some things on it. Get it to sing, get it to do a lot of bells and whistles. As long as the hilt's designed for a chamber reveal, as long as it's designed, all these pieces are designed. Now, I'm gonna play the song for a bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. All these pieces are designed to fit specific. This is specifically designed to fit in this. So if you want crystal chambers, 3D printed chassis, they have to be designed for that hilt for the most part. I can mix and match and create my own crystal chambers out of stuff, but that is extremely custom, and that is that's a lot of work, and that's where you gonna pay me the big bucks. I'm going to Cancun for spring break. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a lot. But if you have, like, say, a hilt specific one like that, like I just showed you, that's not going to worry me that much because that's specifically designed. There won't be that much I have to do to it at all. But you also you can do it with a Nano Biscotti. The first board that I was saying, because remember how that one has like 2 switches and a bunch of stuff going on? This one right here is only 1 switch,
You should know who you're dealing with.
but you only get the crystal light up. Oh, hey, what was I talking about? There's a removable battery. I have a little sleeve, a little sticker I put over it that makes it look like it's metal, but really the batteries, you know, they say like a bunch of numbers and letters on them. But this is a 3D printed chassis. Nana Biscotti's back there, crystal's there, and that's all it does. NeoPixel, it lights up. Simple. That could be a lot cheaper if you wanted a crystal chamber, but again, these sabers, crystal chambers is where it's going to get tricky, where we're going to have to communicate a lot more. We'll have to ask you a ton of questions if you want one of those. So there's all that. I mean, I feel like I've covered a good majority of what you need to know to get started. Again, like I said, crystal chamber is a whole nother game. If you don't want to play that, that's where you're going to start spending $700-800. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, man, like you spend that much on sabers. I don't, because I build them. You're paying for a service. And a lot of these parts I get slowly over time, which I suggest to a lot of people. I've had friends who want a saber that's amazing, and like if I know you and willing to work with you, you buy parts at a time. We can do it this way. You can buy the parts separately. Like say, hey man, I really want this hilt. I really want it done. I know it's a lot. I don't have $300 to drop down right now. And I'm like, okay, dude. So you just dude or dudettes, because ladies love sabers too. And I dig that about y'all. I think I get a lot of women actually asking me more for sabers than I do guys. Just get the parts. Just get what you need. You can send them to me, or you can hold on to them, and we can slowly do it over time. I mean, I had somebody buy the hilt, and then we waited a month or so, and then he bought the soundboard, and then we waited, and then he bought the chassis, and then he bought all that. Like, I'm not losing any money if you're the one buying the parts. Then once you have all the parts, or once we have everything and it's good to go, I'll quote you on what I think the install price would be, depending on the level of difficulty and time spent. And then I don't take payment until the saber's completed. Once the saber's completed, then I'll say, hey man, it's this much. Give me my money. No, I'm kidding. But then you pay me, and then it's all yours. It's I'm not out here to. I'm not scamming anybody. If anything, I don't want to get scammed. Why would I do this crap if I thought somebody was out there to be like swindling me or something like that? So there's a ton of options. There are a lot of options. I mean, I've listed off sabers in the last video and this. I mean, this is going to go on to about an hour talk of sabers, but I mean, I feel like this is something that needs to be talked about. A lot of people asking me, hey, what do I need? Hopefully, if you're still watching this, you're learning, and it better equips us to have a conversation about it. Because, I mean, not only are there hilt kits, are there different things, there's so many different things you can do. I mean, this is a 3D printed piece that I had from a friend make me. It's like a little wampa claw, like a little getcha MHS tube material. I mean, I'm still working on that, but I mean, this is going to be just a crazy looking saber that I'm going to do eventually. This is the beginning of a saber, curved saber, but I need I got the emitter I'm working on. The rest of it, this is all from Home Depot parts, man, like tubes and stuff, scrap bits. There's tons and tons of different ways to do stuff. So it really just varies on what you want. The price is going to be on what you want. You need to find out what hilt you want. You need to find out what soundboard you want. You need to find out what lighting system you want. And from those three things, you are in good shape. You get that taken care of, and the rest of it after that is all just playing and having fun. Come up with a price. Just give you an idea, or give you ideas on where the money's going to go, how much it is. Soundboards can be, let's just say, anywhere from 60. Well, it depends. There's so many different soundboard makers, and the longer you wait, the more competition, I guess you can say competition. Lots of soundboard makers. There's more soundboard makers coming out of the woodworks, which is great news for us, because that means there's a lot more options. So let's just say soundboard's $100. let's just say a hilt is 100 to 200 bucks. Let's just say you're one neopixel, the blade's 200 bucks. I mean, we're already looking at 400 or 500. That's without paying me to do it for you, and the other parts: speakers, batteries, light systems, chargers, blades. There's a lot of variables. So I hope that this has helped people. And again, if you made it this far into part 2, you almost sat down and watched the whole movie with me being like, "Here's what lightsabers are like." No, just trying to tell you that, and there are deals all over the place. There's always a deal. There's always reaching out, knowing the right people. I mean, the reason I've got a lot of these, like when you look at all this, you're like, oh my God, you must have spent like a ridiculous amount of money on sabers. Like, yes and no, not really. Like I said, I built these, and I have a lot of friends who are like, hey man, like, do you want this? I'll sell it to you for, this much. Because I mean, the more people you know, the more you get a good deal on parts, trades. I mean, I get kits. I have extra pieces. I make a whole saber. I sell that saber. I buy. It's just like anything else. This money goes back into it, and I eventually look at my desk and I'm like, oh my God, I got too much stuff. Like, I got too many sabers. So it's, if you're just I'll tell you what's expensive, and I mean this, and I hope that I don't anybody out there who's just like, shut up. The only cheap way, I'll tell you this right now, the only cheap way in this hobby to get sabers and not spend a lot is to be an installer. Because let's just say I'm paying, and also I know where to look, and I know what I need and what I don't need. So I'm like out there with like cutting, areas, because like I don't spend any money for anyone to install my sabers. I've had one saber installed for me by a buddy of mine who did a soundboard that was out of my element, which I'm still working on getting to. I had him do it for me, and he's the only person in a couple years that I've had commission for me, and he's still awesome, dude. Gave me a good price. So buying a saber straight up from a company, you're going to spend money. You're going to spend a lot of money, but there's a lot of variables in it. There's a lot of things. You're paying for a service, and you're paying for a lot of different parts. You're paying for somebody's knowledge and skills, and it's an art form to an extent. So there's a lot of custom work, custom weathering, custom painting, powder coating, you name it. There's the saber customization is almost endless, and that's why it's so hard to answer the question of how much does a saber cost. It can cost hundreds. It can cost over 1,000. Is it a vintage piece? I mean, a vintage lightsaber from a Canon, or not Canon, like if this was a Graflex camera flash, because this originally came from a camera, old camera from 1940s, when they found out, when the Graflex vintage collectors found out that we made lightsabers out of them, boom, skyrocketed. Just a vintage Graflex flash handle, like, piece is like 900 to 1,000. I don't know. I don't buy them. I'm not gonna get that crazy on it. But I mean, that's just to give you an idea. Like, it's so wide variety price range. But I hope that helped you guys out. You can message me. We can talk. We can FaceTime. I don't care. Obviously, clearly, I like to talk. But I just want everyone to have information they need when they ask me for a commission. For if you don't know, these videos again are for people who are tiptoeing into this world and they just want to know more. Hopefully, I helped you out. Again, if you have any questions, message me. I'd love to build one for you. I'm a one-man shop, and I'm not a retail shop. So whatever you want, we can make happen. It's just I need to know what you want, and then I'll let you know how it can happen. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to me. Hopefully I helped you. Love to see everyone get out there and get into the hobby. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it, and I'd love for you guys to share that enjoyment. So until then, I'll see you on the next video.